why 99% of Christians struggle with unanswered prayers, and why you might be one of them. Here's the thing. Most of us think we're doing everything right, but the truth is, we might be missing the mark without even realizing it. Did you know that only 13% of Christians actively spend time listening after praying? Yep, you heard that right. Over 80% of us are just talking to God and assuming that's enough. No wonder our prayers feel like they're bouncing off the ceiling. That feeling when you've prayed for something and you're waiting like, is it coming today? Or should I just start a prayer tracking spreadsheet to keep tabs? If you're checking your phone more than you're checking your faith, I know this, believe me. We've all been there, praying, waiting, and wondering if God missed the memo. But here's the truth. Sometimes we just need to look a little closer at how God answers, and it's rarely in the way we expect. Let's talk about what you're probably overlooking. Prayer isn't just about asking for what we want and hoping God delivers like an Amazon package. It's a two-way street. You've got to listen. And I'm not talking about waiting for an audible voice like thunder from heaven, the quiet, subtle nudges, the moments when something just clicks inside you. But here's the kicker. Most of us miss it. Why? Because we're too busy filling the silence with our own urgent requests. Here's another shocker. Silence is often where God answers, but we're so distracted by our own noise that we miss it. When was the last time you just sat still, without your phone buzzing, your thoughts racing, or your to-do list screaming for attention? If you're like most, probably never. So don't be surprised if your prayers feel unanswered when all you're doing is shouting into the void. Now, don't get me wrong, God hears every prayer. But here's the problem. We're often so focused on the answer we expect that we miss the one He's already giving. It's not always wrapped up in a neat little package with a bow. Sometimes His answer is a change in perspective, a door closed, or a nudge in a new direction. But let's be honest. We want the big, bold, dramatic answer. We want the instant miracle, the wow moment that confirms we're doing everything right. But that's not always how He works. Here's a gut check. Could it be that God has been answering you all along, but you've been too busy looking for something else to notice? It's time to stop waiting for fireworks and start tuning into the quiet, gentle ways God might be speaking to you. Trust me, when you learn to listen, those unanswered prayers will start to make a lot more sense. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty of how to actually see your prayers answered. Here are a few practical tips that will make a big difference. 1. Make listening a priority. After you pray, pause. Don't rush out of the prayer. Instead of hopping straight into your next task, take a moment to sit in silence and be still. God speaks in whispers, not megaphones. So learn to quiet your mind and tune in. You'll be amazed at how often He answers in the stillness. 2. Be specific. Stop praying vague prayers like, God help me. Be clear. Instead, God help me manage my finances better this month so I can give to others. When you get specific with your requests, you're more likely to see how He's answering you in specific ways. 3. Don't forget to ask for wisdom. Sometimes the answers aren't immediate or flashy. Instead, you'll be given wisdom to make better decisions. Start asking, God, show me the right next step, instead of just asking for a direct answer. You'll often find that your path becomes clearer once you ask for guidance. 4. Be patient and trust the process. Instant answers aren't always the way God works. Just because you don't see results right away, it doesn't mean He's not working. Trust the timing. Keep praying with faith, but also allow space for things to unfold in their own time. 5. Write down your prayers. This might sound simple, but it's powerful. Writing your prayers down helps you get clear on what you're asking for. It also gives you a record to look back on, so you can see how your prayers were answered in ways you may have missed. 6. Act on what you've prayed for. Sometimes, the answer to your prayer might require you to take action. For example, if you've prayed for a new job, don't just sit there. Update your resume, apply to openings, network. God may open doors, but He won't move your feet. 7. Remember God's timing is perfect. The right answer might not be the answer you expect or want right away. Trust that God's timing is better than yours. Sometimes the delay is actually a blessing in disguise, giving you the space to grow, learn, and become ready for the answer. So, here's the big question. What if the prayers you've been waiting on have already been answered in ways you never expected? Could it be that the answers are waiting for you in the quiet moments, in the actions you've yet to take, or in the wisdom that's been gently guiding you all along? Imagine if you took just 10 minutes each day after your prayer to sit in silence and listen. For the next 7 days, try this. Pick one specific prayer request, something that's been on your heart for a while, and after you pray, stop and listen. Don't fill the silence with more words or distractions. Allow God to speak, whether it's through a thought that pops into your head, a feeling you can't shake, or a subtle sign that might show up later in the day. Here's the kicker. It's not just about the prayer itself, but about the silence after it, the space you create for God to answer in ways you might never have expected. And trust me, once you start doing this, you'll start to notice how often God speaks in the quiet moments, how His answers come in ways you didn't anticipate. So, here's my challenge to you. Try this for a week. Prayer, silence, and listening. See what happens. And hey, I'd love to hear how it goes. Drop a comment below and let me know how God spoke to you during this challenge. Was it something you expected or totally surprising?